debate events alongside my longtime friend and mentor, Dr. Benjamin Pope. First, I want to thank each and every one of the candidates who have taken the time out of their busy schedule to be here tonight. So please give them a round of applause before we get started. As some of you may know, debate is in the very nature of this campus here at Southern Methodist University. You see behind me on the left, minds moving the world. And that is not true anywhere else more than it is right here on the campus of Southern Methodist University. A campus that has hosted 7 U.S. presidents in the last 3 decades, including Ronald Reagan while he was running for office against Gerald Ford, who came here the night before, George H.W. Bush, all the way through to Barack Obama, the latest president to be here on the campus of Southern Methodist University. And as always, George W. Bush, whose life is actually on the board of trustees. But even more than that, there is a culture of debate here on this campus that has turned itself into an accolade for this university. And one of those that has made that possible is Dr. Benjamin Pope, who's going to be our moderator here tonight. Since Dr. Pope has led the SMU Speech and Debate program, the SMU Speech and Debate program has won more than 12. I think they just won a 13th national title in speech and debate this past year, as well as a world championship. So over here on my left, you see minds moving the world. And over here on the right, you see 3 gentlemen whose minds will continue to move the world. And I appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight, to take part in this event, to watch this event, to make your voices heard, because debate is important for our nation, and our debate is important for our growth as a society. So again, thank you all very, very much for being here. I'd like to welcome up Dr. Benjamin Pope, the Director of Speech and Debate here at Southern Methodist University, to kick us off. Thank you.
Thanks to Matthew again. I think I'm on right now that when there's 13 national championships we won, 3 of them were by Matthew Winchie. They're very good. 3 by themselves, so that's pretty good. And also won the Congress themselves. So that's fantastic. I'm going to shift over to my laptop.
Okay.
I do want to kind of clarify some of our purposes here, and I want to get to the candidates really fast. And we're so excited that these candidates have agreed to do this. We think it's a really fundamental part of American civics that candidates can kind of be heard in their own words and things like that, and less of sort of a journalistic framing and more from a candidate framing. So we wanted to provide a debate opportunity, and these gentlemen were so gracious to be willing to do that. And this is in Congressional District 33. It's only the second day of early voting in Texas, so there's still a lot of opportunity to vote all the way up to March 3rd. So I think this is a very timely occasion that we have. I did just want to clarify, this is the district map, in case you were curious, but and there was a lot of change and adjustment to the map, in the Texas legislature. In fact, I have a question about that. But if you kind of wondered, where is all of this? That yellow area is District 33. You can see some of the other congressional districts like 32 and 30 and so on and so forth. But tonight, we're honored and excited to have these candidates here for Congressional District 33. So ultimately, we will going to have on the screen, what you see here, our format tonight. That's going to allow the candidates to make their own presentations. And so when they do the opening and the closing statements, and this is going to be a clarification for the candidates, I would just invite the candidates to come to this podium. You see to my immediate right. You can come here and make your opening and closing statements. For the other parts of the debate, we'll just let you sit, maybe for the longer portion, when there are questions and things like that. But during the opening and closing statements, we would invite you to come to this main podium here. So really without further ado, I'd like to hear from the candidates. That's what we're really here for. Does anybody else have any urgent order of business? I'm looking at some of my other planners. We do have a timekeeper for Professor Sloan, who's helping out here as well. So he's right here in the middle. I've already told the candidates that. And so I'm just gonna ask that we go right down the row here. We'll start with, our first candidate and, let him start. If he'll just come up to the front, that would be fantastic. So Coach Schwab will speak first, right? Yeah, you pick it up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kurt Schwab, and I'm running for Texas 33. I want to thank SMU, Matthew, and Professor for allowing us to have this event. I think it's great. This is what democracy is about. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a former police officer, an 18-year Air Force veteran, combat veteran. I'm a former director and assistant director to the USO in Missouri. I'm also a published author, and I currently run a veterans organization. As you can see, my entire life, I have served our country and our community. The topics you're going to hear from me tonight are going to be health, veterans and police, first responders, and most of all, economic growth. Some of the endorsements I have nearly 80 endorsements, including American Jewish Conservative, Texas Right to Life, Texas Family Project, Buzz Aldrin. I have over 50 precinct chairs between Tarrant and Dallas County. You're going to find that I am the only one that has this kind of support. I also have the Dallas Morning News. Nobody else does. My name is Kurt Schwab. I'm running for TX33. I'm asking for your vote. And my website while you're here is Kurt, K-U-R-T, Schwab, S-C-H-W-A-B, the number 4, Congress.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwab. Thanks for that opening. And I think now we're going to have John Sims come and give his opening speech as well.
As Kurt said, thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. I want to tell you why I'm running. I was raised in this district. I've been here all my life. Raised by a single mother. Didn't have a lot of money. Learned to work hard, be honest, and appreciate everything you have. And I've been married to my wife for 26 years, through the good and the bad. I worked at my last job for 23 years, through the good and the bad. And I've coached baseball for 10 years, through the good and the bad. Was firefighter EMT, and as you can imagine, there's some good and bad in that. And the important thing I want you all to remember is through the good and the bad, I've stuck around and kept up the fight. Some of the other candidates in the race they've thrown in the towel, they gave up, and I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to stick with it, because at the end of the day, I can't turn around and go back to Tarrant County. I can't turn around and go back to Kansas or West Virginia or any of those other places, because TX33 is my home. And this is where I've served the community. This is where I intend to own my piece of dirt whenever I die. But most importantly, I want you to know that I'm a candidate that hasn't lost collectively 9 races. Anyway, John Sims, votejohnsims.com.
to join us, so I'm going to put him at the end of our rotation here, and I'm going to go ahead and have, so we will have Patrick Gillespie give his opening statement, and then we'll go back to the end now.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Gillespie. I've been in the Dallas-Fort Worth area since 1984. And I've been married to a lovely wife, Maureen, since 1994. And we have a couple children, adult children, that was from her previous marriage. And we have, she could promise me children, she could promise me grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So there's 5 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren. So we love them all. The reason why I ran the first time in 2022 is because I knew about Mr. Beasley and I didn't like what his policies were. And then with the redrawing of the maps after the 2020 census, he became my representative. And to me, I said, oh, heck no. I think I can, represent the Republican Party better than anyone else. So I ran. I did get the Republican nominee for 2022. And of course, our esteemed person, Kurt Schwab, and we ran against each other 2 years ago, and I won the nomination at that time as well. And so, the core phase that I have is faith, family, and also the strength of the American system of the American system of the economy and of the strength of the military. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd now like to invite Mr. Mitchell to come to the podium and give a 2-minute opening statement, if you would. We would very much welcome that. You ain't got the mic there. If you sit on the chair, there's one right here. She'll use that later.
Well, hello. Smiling faces. I'm Dr. Monty Mitchell. I'm registered as Monty Doc Mitchell because I'm a physician, surgeon, trained to be a surgeon. Gosh, a long time ago. And that was supposed to be fun. You can laugh. I went to school at SMU at Perkins School of Theology. Got my ethics degree after I was a physician and an attorney. I'm also a custom home builder, licensed electrician. I'm a licensed AC contractor, and I went to seminary here. You might say, why in the world would you do all of those things? Well, it's because I love to learn. I love the truth. I want to find out. My goal is a quest for truth, to find out what the world's really about. Well, that led me to a discovery that our healthcare system is drastically broken, drastically. And I aim to fix it. Not to pay people off or to do this or do that. I know how to fix the healthcare system, and I can explain that to you under separate time. In addition, I think I want to give money back to families. Back as in cutting the income tax. Flat tax is a great way to do that. If we want to totally get rid of income tax, and I think consumption tax is the way to go, but I'm talking about putting more money back into the pockets of families so that they can thrive. In addition, I have a program for immigration, and I've been to many, many schools all over the country to Health Policy Fellowship in 2013 and 14, and I'm here to fight for the right for children, your children and mine, to grow up in a society that
this is on the screen behind you, but at the end of the debate tonight, we're going to invite you back to the podium to give 2-minute closing remarks. So if there's other things that kind of come to your mind, you'll be able to share those at that time. But for now, we're going to sort of invite you to stay, in the chairs, relatively comfortable. You should be able to find a microphone there with you. And in this next hour, you're going to kind of be able to just sort of work in your seat, in your chair, with the water bottle and the microphone and things like that. So hopefully everybody's comfortable. Yeah, share those water bottles. They're all kind of there in the middle if you want. And this first section, if you kind of see on the screen with me, is our rapid fire. And so these are really quick things where we frankly would like to have a yes or no answer from each question that we ask. And I guess for starters, I'll start with Mr. Gillespie on the rapid fire. I've got 4 rapid fire questions. We just need a yes or no answer going down the line.
Okay.
So first question. Texas just saw a wave of redistricting that changed the boundaries of this district. In fact, we showed that map earlier. Simple question. Do you live in District 33? Do you live in District 33? We'll start with the question.
The new district, no. I live in the old District 32.
Okay, all right. Let's continue down the line.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Schwab?
No. No.
No.
And I did look at the district, the new district, no,
Okay.
about a mile away.
All right, we'll start at the end with Mr. Mitchell in this next rapid fire question. Did you take the COVID vaccine?
No, I had COVID 5 times.
All right. Mr. Schwab, for the COVID vaccine?
No.
No.
Yes, however, I had COVID and actually killed my COVID in 3 days with electrocution.
All right, fair enough. All right, now next rapid fire question. We'll start with Mr. Sims and kind of go that way and come back to Mr. Gillespie. Mr. Sims, have you ever voted for a Democrat?
I have.
All right.
No.
I haven't.
Okay. And then we'll start with Mr. Schwab on this last rapid fire. Do you support requiring an ID in order to vote?
Yes.
And that far end?
Dr. Mitchell says yes.
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 All right, I think you've got all the answers there. Okay, thank you all for those rapid fire questions. I'm now going to ask some individual questions of each candidate. You're going to have, I believe we've got 90 seconds up here, is that right? For the answers to this. And so we're kind of in this question section here. These are going to be specific questions. I'm going to start with Mr. Gillespie. You kind of alluded to this in your opening, but this is your 3rd time running for this seat. Each time you have refused to accept donations during your campaign. Do you think this will hurt your ability to run an effective campaign in the general election this fall?
Not at all. In the general election of 2022, I received about 32,000 votes. And in 2024, I received almost 52,000 votes. And in the total amount that I spent in those 2 campaigns was less than $10,000. I don't take people's money. I say the best thing that you can do is give me your vote. And as of today, in this race, I spent $3,125, and that was to get on the ballot. And I will never take any money. You can go to my website, Patrick Gillespie, the number 4, Congress33.com. You will not see a donate button anywhere on that website. Because I don't want to be, I want to be the public servant. I don't want somebody behind me saying, well, I gave you this money, you need to do this, that, and the other. I don't play that game.
Okay. All right, thanks for that answer. Mr. Sims, I have a question for you. In the last few days, you have unleashed a series of posts on your social media attacking your fellow candidates, referring to Mr. Schwab as a quitter and Mr. Gillespie as a loser. Do you think this sort of name-calling is what Republican voters want to see in this race?
I don't know if it's what they want to see, but I think everybody can appreciate the truth.
nothing stated in any of those videos is untrue. And anybody that wants the receipts, email john@votejohnsims.com, and I'll send you the receipts. But there wasn't anything in any video that I posted that is not true, 100%. And again, I believe the voters appreciate the truth, whether it's good or bad or ugly, you know. And if there's something disparaging out there about me, I hope that you bring it up so that we have informed voters.
All right. Mr. Schwab, you have made healthcare a central point in your campaign, and you have vowed to bring affordable healthcare to everyone. How do you plan to do that?
First of all,
there you go. The district has just under 760,000 people. Within that, the Dallas area has 17% poverty. Within that 17%, 6.9% are veterans living in poverty. We need to bring more pharmaceutical manufacturers here. We need to work with the doctors and the insurance companies. We need to give the people more options that fit their needs and their budget, not the government's. Part of that also extends into disability care. Social Security. I learned today that Social Security is not going anywhere. I heard that from Jake Elsie, Congressman Elsie this morning. But we need to open up the opportunities for people to get the insurance that fits their needs and their budget. And like I said, we need to bring more manufacturers for pharmaceuticals and other medical equipment here. Thank you.
All right. Okay, final question for Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, you mentioned this in your opening. You wear a lot of different hats already. As a doctor, lawyer, and seminarian, how will voters in Texas 33 know that your focus will be on them instead of your many different careers?
Well, that's a great question, actually. Thank you so much. Again, my policy page on my website at www.monte-mitchell.com explains a lot of my positions on the policies. I have had a turnaround in my life, if you will, and my studies are over. Now I'm focused on you. And you say, how do you know that? Well, because my focus is on you. It's the reason I'm running in this race is not for myself. I could care less about the money. I could care less about the fame or the title or anything else. What I want is to create, like I told you in the opening, is to create an opportunity for children, my child and all children, to grow up in America where it's free, where their freedom counts and they can learn and thrive. That's my goal. And my careers are pretty much over. I'm 70. I'm sort of on the way out, if you will. Term limits, I'm naturally going to have term limits because I'll probably die before I get a chance to have more than 3 terms. So that's my answer. And God bless.
All right, thank you so much. Well, now I'm going to go into a section of general questions where everybody's going to have an opportunity to answer each question, and I'm going to try to rotate it so everybody has sort of an equal chance to be first and last. I'm going to begin with Mr. Sims, and everybody's going to have a chance to answer, but Mr. Sims will begin. Why are you the best candidate for the Republican Party in District 33? We'll begin with Mr. Sims.
I believe I'm the best candidate for the people of TX33 because I've lived there. I've lived there my whole life. I've served the community, whether volunteering or as a firefighter, as a baseball coach for 10 years. Yeah, I feel like I know the people of the district, and I haven't lost this race. unlike the other three guys here.
All right, I'll give this question out to Mr. Schwab. Why are you the best candidate for the Republican Party in District 33?
As you know, I'm the only one here that has served and protected our country. I've been to over 70 countries. I know what the outside, the other lives look like and how they live. The fight here is for District 33, but you have to have the concept on everything, on what happens. And I will tell you, when people start talking about attacking you or what have you, you got to remember, look what Abraham Lincoln did. Look what Ronald Reagan did. They lost. They still continued. Look at the Wright brothers. So you need a fighter that's going to continue and not just say, I'm done with this. I'm here for the people. I don't work for the government. I am here for the people. Period. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell, why are you the best candidate for the Republican Party in District 33?
Well, first of all, I'd like to explain that I think you have a great choice in the four gentlemen that sit here because they're all good Christian men, and I think they would all be good choices. I believe that I'm the best choice just because I believe I'm the only one in the race that really offers plans to do something in this district. My goal is to fix health care so that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, it fixes an arm and a leg. My goal is to reduce or eliminate taxes so we put more money back into the pockets of families. And my goal is to correct the immigration system because it's broken. Our systems are broken and they need to be fixed. And I believe I have the prescription in that to fix this. And so I also have a horrible sense of humor, so I apologize for that. but the bottom line is I really have a plan, many plans to fix this, and I'm willing to show you how, where, why, and what to do to fix this. God bless.
Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Gillespie, will you share with us your reason why you're the best candidate for Congressional District 33?
Thank you. After the primary of 2022, I looked into the opportunity zones that President Trump had implemented in his first term. In the old district, there were 7 opportunity zones. Here in the Dallas County area, there's 12, and people need to advocate that businesses go into these opportunity zones, and with our youth going in and being trained to do jobs that will be in those opportunity zones, and also that we will need to make sure that we can coordinate with the police to keep the gang population down. There is also a report that the Dallas County was had the lowest gunfire in a few years, and hopefully that I can partner with the Dallas Police and Dallas County Sheriffs plus the Homeland Security to keep the gang population down.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, candidates, for those answers. Let's go to our second question, and this is going to begin with Mr. Schwab. Everybody will have a chance to answer this question. Mr. Schwab, how would you handle the affordability crisis that is impacting the Dallas area?
You know, one thing that people don't know, even though the news has talked about stopping the pay into to help illegal immigrants. That's a priority we need to fix. Number two, imagine if AT&T, everybody's heard AT&T leaving Dallas. Right now, they have 26% empty space throughout Dallas. Vacancies. When Dallas moves out completely, that's going to jump to 33%. It's a trickle-down effect. Imagine what it's going to do once they leave. That's going to affect our restaurants, our dry cleaners, parking meters. That will affect the tax revenue, the income to the city. Dallas schools, or Dallas is at a tier 2 level. They're number 19. We need to figure out what our sister cities are doing. Fort Worth is booming. Fort Worth is over 1 million people now, and they're still broke. So that's part of the reason, part of the ideal that I'm going to go for.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Mitchell, how would you handle the affordability crisis that's impacting the Dallas area? Same question.
Again, my website, I want to point people to is www.monty-mitchell.com. And I think there's two things that we need to look at when we're talking about the affordability problem. First off, my plan to put money back into your pockets is to reduce or eliminate income tax. And that includes a threshold, if you will, that people under, say, $50,000 that make less than $50,000 don't have to pay anything. And so that encourages spending, encourages economy, encourages everything that happens in the affordability crisis. In addition, I think affordable housing is also something that needs to be looked at. I think Dallas, there was an article written just recently how Dallas did a great job getting the homeless population off the streets by taking private sector donations and money and putting it into public housing. I think we need more of that. I think Fort Worth needs to do that as well. But Dallas is our focus, and we need to continue to do that so that we put more money, again, back into the hands of the people. Again, you earned the money. Why shouldn't you keep it? Correct? I was thinking I was your applause and looking down and everything, but okay, well,
No, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And Mr. Gillespie, how would you handle the affordability crisis impacting Dallas?
Well, I would, during the 2020 census, we had the Democratic breakdown of Hispanics and whites and African Americans and Asians. And I found out that the 350,000 Hispanics that were on the roll was only 125,000 in voting. So I would say, number one, let's have the affordability by getting the illegal aliens out of the area. That would be making sure that if they get out of the area, home prices, rent prices will go down. I believe. And that's how I would get the affordability done.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Sims, how would you handle the affordability crisis in Dallas?
Well, when you talk about affordability and attacking it, we've all got to understand that things are less affordable because of inflation. But a lot of people complain about inflation, but we all enjoy it if we have property to sell, right? Because it is appreciated value. And so we've got to keep that in mind. It's not just about cutting and giving away. I feel like the government needs to take less, and that's a hard pill for most people to swallow, because nobody wants less. Everybody wants something for nothing, right? Everybody wants to see what they can get. And that's, it's tough, but we've got to live within our means. And that's something I've learned through my course of life is, you don't bite off more than you can chew, right? And the government, $63 trillion in debt, has continuously bitten off more than they can chew, or more than the taxpayer can pay off. So affordability is tough, but I don't know how we can solve the problem without negatively affecting a tremendous amount of industry.
All right. Thank you, candidates, for those answers. We're going to move on to question number 3. Again, everybody gets to answer these questions. We're going to start with Mr. Mitchell. On question 3, how would you handle immigration as a congressman? How would you handle immigration as a congressman?
Well, thank you for the question. That's a really good question, and that's one of the policy points that are on my website at www.monty-mitchell.com. What I've done a tremendous amount of research. First off, I believe I can correct the immigration problem by saying, number one, everybody has to sign up. Everyone here in America has to sign up to the immigration system, and we should have a staged visa program so proper vetting can be done. Now, you know, I'm not for killing people or anything like that, but I do think the law should be enforced. And a proper staged visa system, I believe, can accomplish what we're setting out to do. It's a staged visa system. So you apply initially for a business visa, you're approved for 6 months or a year, you go through that visa program, you do well, you bring money into the system, you pay your taxes, you work hard, and then you apply for the next visa, and you get 3 years instead of 1 year. And then you go from level to level to level up, if you would. At each stage causing us to be able to properly vet whoever's here, and then ultimately a naturalization program. And Congress actually asked us to do this in Article 1, Section 8, the Immigration Clause. And so I think we go with that. You can see the true proven way to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Gillespie, how would you handle immigration?
Our last president stated he could stop immigration without another worthless law that would be passed, and Mr. Biden would be ignoring that law. Our President Trump said, didn't need a new law. All you did was a new president. And I would say that I will back President Trump to the hilt on the immigration crisis as long as when we get, Mr. Reese is going to be out the door anyway. He's going to be probably relaxing on the beach somewhere. But if one of the other candidates on the other side of the campaign, they will probably try to say that, we couldn't do immigration because it was, sorry, I had a long time. Okay. What happened in Minnesota with the paid protesters should not be able to be all over the nation. And it should be unlawful to have demonstrations like that, and they should have a law in Congress. And I would probably propose it to not only arrest the illegal aliens that are here, but to have federal penalties on the protesters
support the efforts of the Trump administration. I think they've done a great job of slowing down the rate of illegal immigration, and people around the world know that you can't just walk in like you could with the previous administration. But I don't believe that we need any new laws, right? During the Reagan administration back in '86, they kind of ironed this all out. The problem is that in the last 40 years, we just haven't stuck to the plan, right? Whenever they granted amnesty to 50 million immigrants, illegal or otherwise, back in '86, there was a plan. Hey, we're gonna make all these people legal green card holders and give them the opportunity to become citizens, but from now on we're going to enforce the law. And the problem is we didn't stick to the plan. So we're at a point now where it's unreasonable to believe that we can deport everyone that's here, but I think we may need to consider another action like what was taken during Reagan's administration. Because realistically, you can't fool, say there's 20 million illegal immigrants, you think you can pull 20 million people out of the economy and still be prosperous? I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, thank you for that answer. Mr. Schwab, the last word here. How would you handle immigration as a congressman?
You know, for centuries, the world has operated on legal immigration. And if you remember way back in the day, Ellis Island was used as the main entry point. They had to have a visa to come in. And we need to stick to that same plan as what they did years ago. You know, I found out that I had a grandmother. She couldn't come to the States. She was sick. She died on Ellis Island. So whether it's people wanting to come here for both foreign or domestic, you need to have a passport. We have more threats than what you need. We need to continue the H-1B. I fully support that. We need to get the illegals out, whether they're here 1 year or 10 years. The law enforcement needs to be better taken care of. When they're taken care of, they can do a better job. And the fact that it will delete our tax money that is going to the illegals for Medicare or any kind of medical. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. I got a fourth question here now for everybody to answer. We're going to start with Mr. Gillespie here. The question is, what is your stance on abortion?
What is my stance on abortion? I have the belief that sanctity of life is paramount into this country. I don't believe in abortions if it's unless it is to save the life of the mother after it's been determined that the fetus is in terminal illness, and if it's not, if the fetus is not aborted, then both the fetus and the mother die. That's the only way that I would think that we would have an abortion. Because it wouldn't be actually an abortion then. It'd be because it's not an elected situation of killing a baby. It's because the baby, the fetus, is terminally ill in the womb, and I think the Texas Supreme Court had ruled by the state before the Texas Supreme Court ruled on that.
Mr. Sims, what is your stance on abortion?
I don't believe in abortion, but I believe there should always be exceptions for rape, incest, or medically necessary procedures to save the life of the mother. But I believe the Supreme Court has ruled in their reversal of Roe versus Wade and put it in the state's hands. And whether or not the people like it, that's the law of the state. If you need an abortion, it's not legal here. You're gonna have to jump on Southwest Airlines and go where it is legal, right? If you're really committed to doing that.
All right. Mr. Schwab, what is your stance on abortion?
Abortion is about one question. When does life deserve protection? And I will tell you, I'm living proof. It is God's will that I am sitting here tonight. Why? Because I'm adopted. And if my family would, thank you. We need to define the moral code. Government exists to protect innocent life. The principle is if a child in the womb is human life, then does it deserve protection? This is not about attacking women. It's about valuing both lives. Of course, for the men out there, we care deeply about the women. Their mothers, their daughters, their wives. They're the ones that hold the foundation of the family together. That we need to keep happy, don't we? We still believe, as a Christian, an unborn child deserves protection. As a Christian, I believe the unborn child is a human life, and I believe human life deserves protection. We need to expand the support for mothers, encourage adoption, and increase prenatal resources. Thank you.
Dr. Mitchell, what is your stance on abortion?
Well, I've got to say that these two books that I'm holding in my hand are my reference material. One is my Bible, and the other is my Constitution. I carry them wherever I go because I believe that's what we need to look to first. What does the Constitution say? What does the Bible say about it? My feeling about abortion, I wrote an article in seminary, you have to write these crazy these professors. And I said, when is a fetus alive? Now I know that from conception, they have the DNA code that will bring them to life. But when actually do they have pulses and respirations and all this stuff? 23 days. That's what my research said. 23 days. They evolve and they have a pulse and they have respiration and they're alive. So, however, most women don't even know that they're pregnant before 6 weeks or so. So the bottom line is, I am against abortion, and I think that a child is even alive at conception. And I think that we need laws and stuff to enforce that. Now, I'm not for harming women. I think women are glorious, and God bless our mothers, because we wouldn't be here without them. But we need to support both lives if we can. And that's where I would make the judgment, is have to support both lives.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, the candidates, for that answer. Okay, the fifth question, we're going to start with Mr. Sims on this one. This district that you all are going after is more than 50% Hispanic. How do you plan to represent that community
believe the best way to represent the Hispanic community is going to be the same way you represent the 8% white community and the 26% African American community, and that's to represent everyone in the district. You know, a lot of candidates on both sides of the aisle like to cater to their specific groups, and I believe as a representative of the people, you should try to do what's best for the country, not only focus on a specific neighborhood or a specific demographic. You know, ultimately, being in Congress is about enacting laws that affect the entire country, not just your little cubby hole. So for me, it's about representing everyone. And the only way for everyone to have an equal voice is to not prioritize one race or gender or ideology over another.
All right, thank you, Mr. Simmons. This question I goes to Mr. Schwab. The district is more than 50% Hispanic. How do you plan to represent the community in Congress?
As one. And I will tell you that the Hispanic population, since I've been out walking around the district, talking to people, talking to business owners, even the Hispanic folks, the Latino population, they're the ones that are mad at the ones that can't speak English, that are here illegally. We need to work with those people because they have the key factors of what's in their community. For instance, two of the groups that I think I mentioned in opening, support of the Romanian community and the American Vietnamese community. It's the same way. We need to work as one. We need to figure out how to help people and not go against them. If they are here legally, I will do everything in my mind to help them. And if they're on their way on the path of becoming an American, I will be the first one in line to say welcome home. Thank you.
Dr. Mitchell, same question for you. The district is more than 50% Hispanic. How would you represent this community in Congress?
I would represent this community in Congress, first off, by educating myself to their culture and to the things that matter most to that population. In addition, hiring staff in Congress that work for me that are Hispanic. Because I believe we have to stay mindful and informed about that population that we're concerned about. And so but it would be a broad range of people that you'd hire for your staff. But the bottom line is educating yourself about the culture, because it's a deep, deep culture. There is some amazing people that live on both sides of me where I live now, and on the weekend it's a pretty rowdy place with some of the music, I've got to tell you. But you know, the whole point is they're steeped in culture. They're steeped with their own ways of doing things. And I think we need to understand as congressmen, as representatives, as people that are chosen to represent this population in our district, we have a duty, an obligation, if you will, to understand where they come from and how to meet the needs of that community. And I think it's incumbent upon us to learn, to educate ourselves, and to then begin to enact things that support that population.
All right, thank you so much. Finally, Mr. Gillespie, the district is more than 50% Hispanic. How do you plan to represent that community in Congress? Mr. Gillespie.
Thank you. Actually, it's around 66% Hispanic, and a vast majority of the Hispanic community is conservative. We have to focus on the Hispanic community as a fellow conservative. I can cite their family oriented. They're deeply religious. The children that if I am their representative in Congress, not only would I have their back, but I'm sure that they would have my back as conservatives.
Thank you so much. I'm going to thank Dr. Miller for answering that. I'm going to move on to question number 6. So we'll begin with Mr. Schwab on this question. Mr. Schwab, what are the main issues impacting District 33 today, and how would you address those issues if you were elected?
As I mentioned before, Dallas needs help. We need to figure out something that is going to draw the people to District 33, that entices them to come here. Dallas needs to be #1 in the world, just like the school districts. School districts are rated at B grade right now. They're 55 out of 88. Those two things should be priority. It needs to become #1. As we draw people into the district, what does that do? It starts breaking people into our restaurants, starts people using parking meters, dry cleaners, movie theaters. So as the old saying goes, don't give a man a fish to eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. He eats for a lifetime. And that's what we need to do. We need to create the businesses and help small business owners so they can continue to create jobs and the people can go out and spend their money the way they want to. This is not about working to worry about paying their taxes. This is about keeping money within our community. So the more economic growth we can do, the better off we'll be. This is not enough economic growth. This is economic renewal. So we need to draw people to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer. Dr. Mitchell, again, what do you think the issues are for City 33, and how would you address them as a congressional member?
Great question. Well, unfortunately, it's going to require the influx of money, and that means that we're going to have, just like my colleague said, an economic renewal. But again, my plan is to reduce or eliminate income tax so that we can have a consumption tax or a flat tax that puts more money back into the pockets of people. But we also need infrastructure rebuilding. I've walked this district and just about worn out my boots, worn out a pair of pants too. But anyway, bottom line is that we need infrastructure rebuilding. We need more business into areas that count so that we restore the economic viability. We also need better schools in some area. We need to educate and raise the level of education in our communities. There is a lot of work to be done, a lot of work in Dallas to be done. But I think I'm very positive about we can do it. But I got to tell you, I need your help. We need to work together, unified, to do it, because when we're in unity, we can work together. The political situation is poor. We're divided. We're polarized. Where has the gentleman gone? The gentleman statesman gone in today's society because we're so polarized? I think it's horrible. We need to work together to get this done.
All right, thank you for that answer. Mr. Gillespie, the same question to you. What do you think the issues are for CD 33, and how would you address them as a member of Congress?
We need good education, and we also need good teachers to educate the students. We need also to to be very mindful of the teachers not indoctrinating our children into like a Confucius classroom situation. And also, we also need to get the gang situation, like in northwest Dallas, is going to be dealt with. And also that the federal government is helping in that capacity right now with Homeland Security. And we need to get more funding for better schools, whether it's to upgrade the curriculum or upgrade the teacher people, or also like more magnet schools or charter schools to elevate the children that are being stagnated. They need to be up and also stimulating their mind instead of maybe having a covert activity for the future. It needs to be for students to have a better life and not to be activists. And hopefully my position in Congress could actually help get our children and our school systems and also gang-related activities under control in this district.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. Last person answering here, Mr. Sims. What do you think the issues are in Congressional District 33, and how would you address them as a member of Congress?
Well, I appreciate the answers from the other guys that are in the race, but I think they're more focused on state and local issues. I believe the issues of the 33rd Congressional District are the same issues that many other districts across the country deal with more fiscal responsibility at the federal level, which again continues to contribute to our $61 billion in deficit. So in order, again, to help everyone, you can't focus on one single group. And the 33rd Congressional District is not just Dallas. There was a lot of focus on Dallas. It's Dallas, Balch Springs, Mesquite, Irving, Grand Prairie. So you can't just say Dallas. And I understand what the guys meant, but we need to look at national issues. And probably the biggest one is healthcare costs, taxes, dealing with immigration, and again, the only way to represent your district is to be considerate of everyone in the country.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for those answers. Now, I think this is probably going to be the last general question before we move into the candidate cross-examination section. So this will be the 7th question. I do want to ask one foreign policy question. We're going to start with Mr. Mitchell there. And here is the question. Should the United States be involved in regime change abroad? Should the United States be involved in regime change abroad?
That is an excellent question. Yes, that's my simple answer. I believe that we have a duty, an obligation, if you will. Now, we need to be strong at home, but we also need to propose strength in our foreign markets. It is imperative that we do that so that we don't lose basically our way of life. But it is imperative that we maintain the designation for the global money market. If our currency loses that designation as in default currency, then it's going to be devastating for America. Again, we have some people say $38 trillion debt, some people say 60 and more. I think our debt is huge, and the only way that we can function is a balanced budget. However, in the foreign markets, I think a show of strength is imperative in the United States. That's all I'm
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mitchell. And Mr. Gillespie, we're going to go to you. Do you think the United States should be involved in regime change?
I'm 68 years old, and even before I was born, around 1950, we started trying to do regime change all over the world, and we've done an utter failure at the regime change, because you get into quagmires and not want to finish wars. We still have the Korean Peninsula that is in conflict. We went in and spent billions and billions, maybe even trillions of dollars in Indochina, the Vietnam and so forth, to do regime change. We can't do it. You have to have the people that are on the ground in that country wanting change. We have this current situation with Iran. I have personal friends that were in the Shah's Iranian regime, and like they should have not even had Khomeini come back. But the thing is that we're now going in and we're saying, well, we're going to go and have the Iranians back, the people's back. I doubt that we're going to go and get into war in quagmire again and pull out with no victory, if there is a victory, or if they can settle the Iranians down to where the people are not getting this massacre. After the revolution, the Iranians that were captured, the Iranians could not kill their own people, execute their own people back in 79.
Mr. Gillespie, I may interrupt you
Okay,
here.
I'll just about a half a second.
Okay.
Okay, well, maybe 3 seconds. The solution for the Khomeini was to hire the Palestinians to come in and be executioners, and the guy that had Nobel Peace Prize was the chief guy that was killing the people over there in Iran after the fall of
All right, thank you for that answer, Mr. Gillespie. Let's move to Mr. Sims. Do you think that the U.S. should be involved in regime change abroad? Mr. Sims.
I believe that the United States should be involved with regime change only when it's necessary for the protection of our country, or a close ally. We don't need to go affect regime change because we don't like a particular world leader. I know that the United States has been the shining star with regard to human rights, but in some countries, we've got to let them mature as a country and learn. And it's painful, but it's a reality that we can't impose our will on the world.
All right, thank you for that answer. And then finally, Mr. Schwab, should the U.S. be involved in regime change abroad?
Well, as you all know, I stated I'm the only one here that served in the military. I've served in multiple combat operations. I've served in Iraq and Afghanistan, based in Qatar. So I've seen what that part of the world can do. I've seen what South Africans can do. Panama, Operation Just Cause. We absolutely need to be involved in regime changes because we need as many allies as we can get, even though right now Israel is our biggest ally in the world. You know, I'm glad to see that we went from Secretary of Defense to Secretary of War. The difference is, Secretary of Defense means we're sitting here waiting for people to come at us. Secretary of War means that we're standing tall and we're going to go after the people that have plans to attack us. You know, I'm a big time Trump fan. He just passed a $1.5 trillion military package, and we're going to need it, especially with Iran closing off the Straits of Hormuz. We've got 2 aircraft carriers there, I think about 6 battleships, and an ungodly number of F-35. So, yes, we need to be involved in everything we possibly can. I will tell you that everybody's worried about Greenland. We don't need Greenland, actually. We need to keep a base there. But Monty and I could go in with 2 M4s and a truck and probably knock out the bees and take over Greenland. But we need it because of China and Russia. We need to keep our relations with them. So, thank you.
Candidates for answering all 7 of those questions, very helpful. I'm personally really excited about this next section of the debate. This is kind of a novel thing that we're attempting. And I want to give a little bit of advice to the candidate, especially as a debate coach here. What we're asking each person on the stage to do is conduct for themselves 2.5 minutes of cross-examination of the other candidates. Okay? So you're going to have 2.5 minutes to ask a question. And by the way, when you're doing that, you may politely interrupt the other candidates to say, thank you, you've answered my question, I now want to ask another question. And you can ask multiple candidates questions. You don't have to focus on just one candidate. So it's your 2.5 minutes to ask questions, to get answers. This is something we do in the debate all the time, but it might be something new for you. We think it's a little bit better than we just have to ask you questions. We'd like you to ask each other questions. So we had a system of order, and under the prearranged system, we had a draw. Mr. Sims is going to begin this cross-examination period, so you're going to have 2.5 minutes with your microphone to ask any of your candidates questions that you want to ask them. So we'll begin with you, Mr. Sims, and you can use your own microphones to answer.
Earlier, you mentioned that I put out some videos that are pretty spicy, but as I said, they were all based in fact. And I started this campaign for the 33rd really peaceful, and I had someone tell me that I couldn't win, and I was a loser, and I wasted my money. And it really energized me, and I sat back for weeks to see what the other candidates were going to do, and they didn't do anything, which made it easy, right? And what I mean by they didn't do anything, one candidate was out schmoozing with everybody, gathering endorsements, but endorsements don't win elections, because none of those 80 endorsements have done anything for the 33rd Congressional District. But I think it's important for the voters to know that between the 3 of these guys, they've lost this race 9 times. And I don't think that them being from Tarrant County, they're going to understand the district. I grew up in this district where it was 90% Hispanic in my neighborhood I grew up in, and about 85% African American in my high school. So I feel like I have a better connection to the district. Kurt, what do you think makes you a better candidate than me with regard to understanding the citizens of the district?
Well, first of all, I have been out campaigning for over 2 years. People know who I am. They know my personality. They know I respect everybody. And they know that I have a heart of gold.
Appreciate your answer. You've been campaigning for 6 years. Would you agree?
No.
Okay, so he ran for Congress, then ran for governor, now he's running for Congress again. One more question for you, Mr. Schwab. Did you attempt to bribe me to drop out of the race?
No.
Would you like me to show the text messages and the voicemail? Are you a man of integrity? That, my friends, is why I decided to put the videos out that are spicy. Because I will not be bought off.
Okay, we'll have to stop there. That was 2.5 minutes. Mr. Gillespie is going to go second on the clock. So you have 2.5 minutes to ask questions of the other three candidates.
Well, Kurt and I tangled 2 years ago. And that was about, we had one conversation. I think that we both learned something from that conversation. And then I went in and started working the shaking hands and knocking doors, but I haven't seen any of you three in like Battle Ranch or in State Highway up and down State Highway 78. Didn't see any signs in the Hispanic community. I was just wanting to know if you all were going to just slough off the Hispanic community, or were you going to put some signs in there to give some spice? Because you have the three Democrats that are in their race. They have signs all over the place, and I'm putting signs in strategic areas, but I don't see all of your signs. Where are all the signs to get your message out?
I can answer that question. I have signs all over the place, all over Valley Ranch, all over Irving, and the polling places in Irving, directly trying to oppose Julie Johnson, because she's got signs everywhere anymore.
Right.
Already.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that I put a sign right next to yours, Mr. Gillespie.
That's fine.
In Bradenburg.
Yeah.
But I have signs.
All down there on Pioneer.
Right.
Oh, cool.
But I've got signs all over the place. I can't even imagine that you would miss my signs after they're all over 4 buttons.
I want to say I don't have any signs out because I don't have the money to spend on 4x8 signs that cost $40, and I just don't have it, right? Because I funded this campaign out of my pocket. I do have a donate button, but 2 people have donated a total of $120 to my campaign, and that's fine because I don't feel a need to litter the world with these campaign signs that won't get picked up.
Okay, that is time. So we're going to go to Mr. Mitchell, who now will have 2.5 minutes to conduct his own cross-examination of the other candidates. Any questions that you want to ask of the other three here tonight? Mr. Mitchell, your time begins now.
Well, that's a great question. Gosh, I'm going to throw softballs because I actually like these guys. I really do. I think that every person here would make a great congressman, and that's really the truth. So I'm going to just say, I know that we're all Christians. Can you, each person tell me how you receive the Lord? Because I think that is tremendously important. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, we're running for Congress and want to do that job. But again, I think the two most important things for me are the Bible and the Constitution. So, how do you feel about that? Or can you give us some information about it?
I believe
Morning.
God and the Father Almighty. He came down to save mankind through and incarnate through the Virgin Mary. Both Mary and Joseph named him Yeshua, which in Hebrew that means the Lord saves. Okay, Jesus is the Greek construct of his name. He dwelt in the midst of men and women in Israel and proclaim that of the glory of his Father. I won't go on. Yeah, amen, brother. But and I don't want to tell tales with I actually sing some spiritual. They came to me. They came to me because I had developed a device called a zapper, and it wasn't my invention. Dr. Calvin Clark created this device, but the dean that came to see me came into my house with my wife. My wife freaked out. I just said, "Can you leave? You're scaring my wife." And so, came back the next day and asked if I would develop a zapper for a Cardinal Bernadine out of Chicago. It was the Chicago Cardinal that had stage 4 cancer.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to have to interrupt you, Dr. Chairman. I came to do it, so thank you for that question, though. Mr. Schwab has the final turn for cross-examination, and so you have 2.5 minutes to ask questions of the other candidates.
You know, I have been campaigning for a long time. There's a reason why I didn't make the ballot a couple times. Sometimes a good leader is to know what direction to go to. God always puts you in the right path. The times that I didn't make it on the ballot, because quite honestly, I didn't have the team I have today. And I thank God for them every day, and they know how much I appreciate them. Yes, I did make it on the ballot. And what happened? Only God knows. But I'm back here, I'm fighting again. Yes, I do live out of the district. The new district moved me out by 2 miles. I'm in an apartment place. So it's kind of tough to move out. We all know what kind of money it takes to get out of a lease. But I'm not a quitter, I'm not a fighter. My question to all three of them is, why do you think going after veterans issues is important to you when you've never served in the military and you don't know what we need? Mr. Mitchell.
Well, I think going after veterans issues are critical because they have their life on the line for us and for our freedom. And whether I've served in the military or not, I've actually applied to be a flight surgeon, because I had a childhood asthma. But bottom line is that I've tried. I love the military. I've studied at military hospitals during my tenure as medical student and in residency, and I think that we owe our veterans.
Thanks. Well, I'm a fighter. I'm a combat veteran. And I am here for the people and for the district. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. Let's give them a round of applause for the question. We're at the end of our time, so now we're going to have our closing statement. So once again, we're going to invite the candidates to come to this podium right here and give their closing remarks. I'm trying to kind of reverse what we did in the opening. And so I'm going to invite Dr. Mitchell to come first and give his closing, and then Mr. Gillespie will follow, and I'll kind of go after that. Dr. Mitchell, please come and give your closing 2-minute statement.
I was going to ask for a lottery to see if I could make that 4 minutes. Anyway, what I have to say is I've been a medical missionary from Christ to the Nations. I lived in Christ to the Nations, had an apartment up until about 2 weeks ago with Christ to the Nations, and I've served on the mission field in probably 100 different countries all over the world, and understand that poverty looks the same wherever we see it. And so the bottom line is, I have a desire. I thirst for the truth, but also I thirst to serve, because we need people who will serve this district. And I believe these gentlemen will do a good job, just as I will. But I believe I'm the only person that really has an educated plan, a plan on how to do it, how to transform the district, and how to get it done. I understand all about that we need a balanced budget, and we're in debt, and we need to correct that, because anybody who has not had a business and had to make money grow needs to understand that. So the bottom line is, we need to fix the economy. We need to fix healthcare. We need to fix immigration. We need to save our babies that we have been aborting over and over and over again for years. And I believe that I have the way to do it, the plans to do it. But first, I've got to say my plans have to do with my Bible and my service to God and my Constitution, which is the service to my country. I may not have served in the military, but I've taken care of a whole lot of vets. And I've been all over the world to take care of mankind. I'm a public servant. I believe in, and I'd like to be your servant. And I'm going to ask for your vote. Please vote Monty Mitchell at www.monty-mitchell.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. We invite Mr. Gillespie to come to the podium and give his 2-minute closing as well.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening. We all wanted to give our desire and our hope of what we're going to do for this nation. And I'm glad that you all are here to listen. I'm going to do my best to help lower the affordability problem, and also to help with the energy, and also to help lower the cost of insurance and also the cost of prescription drugs. Our President Trump got us the lower drugs just last month, and so hopefully I can help him get more things DOJ to look into getting the waste and froth out of not only the military, but out of other departments, just like they did about 7 months ago. But this time, we won't have people burning Teslas down because we had a forward-thinking gentleman that was helping our president to get that government efficiency executed. Thank you for listening to me tonight, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. I want to invite Mr. Sims to come to the podium and give his 2-minute closing.
Once again, thanks again for the opportunity to be here tonight and speak to you all. You're working harder and harder every day, but you're falling further and further behind. Healthcare costs are crushing your family. Your mortgage payment goes straight to the bank, while you're barely touching the principal. After you've paid in Social Security your whole life, you got to pay taxes when it's time to get it. The good news, President Trump has laid the groundwork to fix this. He campaigned on eliminating Social Security taxes, and he's fighting to make it happen. He's signed executive orders forcing hospitals and insurance companies to disclose their actual prices, creating the transparency that we need to help control costs. President Trump opened the door, now it's time to finish it. I'm John Sims. I've lived in this district my entire life. I've been married to my wife, Adriana, for 26 years. I worked at my last job 23 years. Through the good times and bad, I've stayed in the fight consistently. As a firefighter, EMT, youth baseball coach, I know what it's like to show up every day and work through the good and the bad. The good economy, the bad economy, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, working. I know how to show up and do what you're expected to do. And not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. And, you know, it's, like I said earlier, I'm usually pretty passive and a nice guy, and I love everybody and respect everybody. And I'll do anything I can to help any of these candidates. But I'm willing to fight for this district because this is my home.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sims. Now I would invite Mr. Schwab to give a closing 2-minute speech for his campaign.
As I've said, I've been campaigning for over 2 years. I've been all over this district. I have failed, and I've always come back. If I fail, I continue to fight. Like I said earlier, we must remember Ronald Reagan, Abraham Lincoln. They failed multiple times. The Wright brothers failed multiple times, but they came back. I have an incredible team that consists of a business owner, the recent past president of the Turning Point USA chapter at SMU here. I've got an intern who recently graduated from OU. I have another intern who is currently going to Dallas Baptist University. As you can see, I have a great team. They believe in what I'm doing. They believe in what I'm fighting for. And they believe in my Christian values. Our district, our country, and our family need to come first, no matter what. I've been at this a long time with my goal to represent not only the people of District 33, but everyone in Dallas County as well. and I will do my best to serve our country and protect our people and our assets. I'm asking each of you for your support. All of you have been on Facebook or here tonight. I'm asking you to visit my website at Kurt, K-U-R-T, Schwab, S-C-H-W-A-B, the number 4, Congress.com. We need your support. Sign up as a volunteer. If you can't volunteer, consider contributing. But I am here for the people in District 33. God bless you. God bless District 33. God bless America and President Trump. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schwab. Thanks to all our candidates. Let's give them one more round of applause for doing this hard I'd also ask everybody in the audience your indulgence. Professor Sloan, and maybe with the help of my debater, Paul Wooler, is going to hand out paper ballots. If you'd be willing to kind of express who you think won the debate, that would be nice. By the way, there are students here who are trying to get credit for this actually, so there's a blank there for you to put a professor like Professor Vogt on your ballot. If you're not interested in trying to impress me, you do not have to write Professor Vogt on your ballot. You can just write whatever you want, but we are interested in your feedback about the debate, so Professor Sloan is walking around right now with those ballot items. But we are so glad to host this event. We also just want to remind the public that we, as the SMU debate program, are very interested in hosting debates like this. Obviously, there's a long election cycle ahead. The March 3rd primary election is going to happen. But the general election in October,
Thank you. He's awesome.
So hope you'll tell your friends and family about events here. We would love to have you. There will be recordings of the event tonight if you want to send it to friends or whatever. You can contact myself or other organizers. But thank you all so much for being here. And once you fill out that ballot, we really appreciate that. And thank you to the candidates. You make democracy work. You make it much more robust by being willing to actually debate and share your differences and your vision. That's really important to the credibility of the country and democracy at large. So thanks so much, and I think we're kind of completed for the evening.